الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم المبعوث رحمة للعالمين وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهديه إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. حياكم الله، إن شاء الله هذا عيد مبارك.
وعليكم السلام والسلام.
Inshallah, we're going to continue understanding of surat Yousof. Time, inshallah, we're going to finish at 2 p.m. because we're focusing only on surat Yousof. There is no other subjects. So this is a recap. This is a review from last verse we discussed last time we had lesson. Ya صاحبي السجن. So in this verse, in verse 41, Yusuf alayhi salam at the end told them the understanding or the interpretation or what their dreams mean. So he called Ya صاحبي السجن, all my two friends or companions or fellows of the same place as Sijin. As for the first one of you, or one of the, because the first one is the one that told him the dream about squeezing wine. So he said, فَيَسْقِي, yasqi is to give, to drink, رَبَّهُ, his Lord. And Rabba is used for a Lord, like a human Lord, owner of something is called Rabb. King can sometimes refer to as Rabb. So فَيَسْقِي رَبَّهُ خَمْرًا, he's going to give or he's going to give his Lord wine, as he's going to work as the wine server, the one who serves wine. وَأَمَّا الْآخَرُ, and as for the latter or the last one, the other one, فَيُصْلَبُ, so he's going to be crucified. He's going to die on the cross. فَتَأْكُلُ الطَّيْرُ مِنْ رَأْسِهِ, so birds will eat off his head. He saw in the dream he has bread that the birds eat from it in his head. So this is how Yusuf alayhi salam interpreted. And then at the end he said, قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ الَّذِي فِيهِ تَسْتَفْتِيَانِ. قُضِيَ was decided, was decreed, finalized. قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ, the matter. الَّذِي, the one that, فِيهِ, in it, تَسْتَفْتِيَانِ, you asked for fatwa. تستفتيان, you know the word fatwa or futya. Are you familiar with fatwa? What does fatwa mean? Are you familiar with the word fatwa? No, fatwa isn't a ruling. When you have a fatwa, means you have a question that you're seeking the answer. You're looking for the answer. So when you say, I have a fatwa regarding salat, which means what? I have a question that I can't find the answer. And I want someone else with more knowledge, with more understanding of Quran and Hadith to tell me the answer of that. So they had a fatwa for Yusuf alayhi salam. They had a question related to their dreams. And that's why at the end he said, the matter in which you are tastaftiyani, you're asking me to give you the fatwa, to give you the decision, to give you the knowledge. Okay, do we understand tastaftiyani? Okay, so related to that, we mentioned that there is few things related to dreams we need to understand. And they are mentioned in the hadith, sahih, the manners, how we do about the dreams. What do we do about the dreams? And when Yusuf alayhi salam said, قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ, this is another understanding or confirmation from what the hadith mentioned. So let's take it step by step. So now for your notes, please take notes. Please reflect on the knowledge you are getting. Even if it was something small, take a note of it and reflect on it and try to put it in your life. So what are the manners related to dreams and how do we understand dreams? So dreams are types. There is something called hulum. So this is the first thing you add related to dreams. Dreams are types. They're not all the same thing. They differ according to the time you saw them and to the content of them. Some of them called hulum, and the many of them is ahlam. But the word hulum has other meanings too. So hulum in Arabic can mean dream. So now for your notes, can mean dream and can mean mind as well. Where you process, where you think is hulum. That's why the person that is really thinking about his actions and reactions and taking slow, doesn't rush to punish someone, we call them what? I will repeat again, the person that take every matter easily, he takes his time to think, doesn't rush to be upset at someone or punish someone right away if they did something that they don't like. Halim, ahsanti. So you see how it relates. So Halim is a person that practices hulum because he is that kind of a person that thinks a lot, reflects a lot, controls his mind. So mind has something to do with hulum, and hulum is where the dream takes place, you see? So hulum means dreams, and it's used for dreams or a dream, and hulum means mind, and halim is the person that put the mind to be observing and practice and take it slow and doesn't rush. That's the halim. So that's the first type of dreams, hulum. Second type of dreams is called ru'ya. Ru'ya means vision, something you see. So now that is the difference first on a word level. Hulum is something happening in your mind while you're asleep. Ru'ya is something you see, a vision. So can you notice first the difference? In English, you just say dream. But in Arabic, there is that difference in language level that as well give you a little bit of a sense what the difference between them. So based on what I explained now, if you don't understand what I explained now, I can repeat again. Hulum, something going on in your mind. Ru'ya, something you see. They're both types of dreams. What is the difference? So hulum usually is not attached to something that may happen to you or have a certain good interpretation. Sometimes it has bad interpretation or it is not good that you even say it. We're going to talk about manners in a second. So hulum is not something that you have to worry about. You don't have to worry about understanding it. You don't have to worry about what happened to it. It will have a lot of transformation as you go. For example, you see in front of you, I'm giving you an example. In a hulum environment where you see the hulum, you see, for example, in front of you an ant, and then you say, subhanallah, all of a sudden it transferred into a cat. This called hulum, which means your mind having lots of pictures and related sounds, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with his permission, all these sounds and picture became like a story and you see it while you sleep. That's hulum. So if you go to a person that has a knowledge of interpreting dreams and say, I saw an ant that turned into a cat, they will tell you this has no interpretation. Why? Because transformation in the dream doesn't have any related understanding. Yusuf alayhi salam, when he interpreted the dreams, there was no transforming, there were facts, something happening, event that keep repeating. You see, that is a hulum. Time of hulum usually deep hours of the night. Like if you go to sleep around 10, so maybe you can see a hulum around 12 that can last maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or an hour, but this is the hulum time. All that to differentiate between hulum and ru'ya. So ru'ya is a vision. Ru'ya time is close to Fajr time, end of the night, close to Fajr, early morning time. Ru'ya usually has something to do with what is coming forward, like in future in your life. Good news for you, carried. The environment is usually filled with light, happiness, something cheerful that you relate to. Or maybe something sad, but the majority of the hulum is a bushra for you. Bushra means good news. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses the ru'ya to be good news for you. Something from future, He's giving you a clue about it, a news about it that will happen to you, inshallah, later. Maybe there will going to be sadness attached to that. Maybe going to be a bit frustration attached with it, but the end is good. That is the ru'ya. So ru'ya is something you want to look at. Ru'ya is something you want to, if you saw ru'ya and you woke up happy, what are the manners of the ru'ya? Who knows? Share with us all, please. If you knew from before, what are the teaching? Muhammad ﷺ taught us what to do when we see a ru'ya, which means a good vision that has good news for you, something happy you saw, something filled with light, with cheers that you saw. What do you do with that?
I think you share with your family.
Okay. Jazakallah khairan. Who else? Okay. Ahsanti. Jazakallah khairan. First, Muhammad ﷺ said, Yahmadillah. Yahmadillah alayha. To say Alhamdulillah. I saw that. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted, decreed to give you information about something future to you. You have no idea of knowing, and He's giving it to you in the ru'ya. So you say Alhamdulillah for it. Second, you tell who you trust, like my sister Romana said. That trust bit is really, really important. So you don't share with all family. You don't make it a topic of the gathering. No, you tell it to the person you trust, your sister, your mom, your son, your daughter, your husband, the person you trust, you tell it. Why? Why is that? Because now we're going to relate to what Yousof alayhi salam said. قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ. Once, and now write that please in your notes. Once the dream is narrated / interpreted, it happens. This is about dreams. This is something not beyond our understanding how this happens, but this is how it happens. Muhammad ﷺ told us about that in the hadith. Once the dream is narrated / interpreted by someone, it happens. Not only it happens what they said about it. So if you told a good, beautiful dream to someone you don't trust, and they undermined it, and they said something negative, may Allah protect you. However, the negative is going to take place. You see, this is how careful you need to be when you narrate your ru'ya, the vision. If you tell it to someone you trust, and they of course will say, MashaAllah, la quwwata illa billah, may Allah grant you the best. They're going to make dua for you. They may not interpret it right away, but they will say, it means goodness, something good. Good, say Alhamdulillah, something good is coming. All these are good words, You make your expectation good and you wait for the dream to come true. Inshallah, it will. So that is related to the good ru'ya. Al-hulum, whether it's neutral, as we said, this can be just a story, things that transform into things, but sometimes it start having fear and anxiety that is now turning into what we call kabus. Kabus is like a nightmare. So hulum can be without any bad or good environment and can turn into bad. If it's bad or turned into bad, it's from shaitan. And it's going to be scary and you're going to feel frightened. So when you get up and you feel your heart racing and you can't still forget, it's still very, very fresh in your mind and you can see it. Don't tell it to anyone. But what are the manners? First, you do what? Who knows the manners of when you see a hulum that you didn't like or frightened you or made you feel sad? What you do? Spit, ahsanti, like with the humid type, like of blow on your left side, ahsanti. You say a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, and you don't narrate it to anyone. If you're still during the sleeping hour, turn into the other side. So if you find yourself waking up on your back, then go to your side. If you find yourself sleeping on one side, change to the other side. SubhanAllah, Muhammad ﷺ told us that about changing to the other side. When you change to the other side, that dream does change. You don't have that same dream again. And if you still had it even after you changed your side, maybe you forgot to say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim before you went, or you forgot to do the blow 3 times on your left side. So blow, you say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect you from what you saw. Don't tell it to anyone because it's not going to harm you. And change side if you're still during hours of sleep. What happens if you tell it, it happens. That's why Muhammad said, don't say it at all. So you only say what's good, as a conclusion. You only say what's good and you only say to those you trust. If you try to interpret the dream, even the one you didn't like, it will happen the way you interpreted. So that's why you need to try and stay away from that. So from what Yousof alayhi salam said, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said here, that Yousof taught or told the 2 men, قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ, finalized. Because once he said the meaning, it's decided, it's finished. Is that clear? My sisters, questions? Okay, so I'll move on as long as no questions. So verse 42. Now Yusuf alayhi salam thought or expected, because the dhanna here is used, expected, that one of them is going to make it, is going to have a chance to work and continue living, and the other one doesn't have that chance. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَقَالَ, I mean Yusuf alayhi salam said, لِلَّذِي ظَنَّ, to whom that he thought, that he expected that he is making it, najin, he's going to be saved. مِنْهُمَا, from both of them. He said what? اذكرني عند ربك. Udhkurni means remember me. Ainda, in the presence of your Lord. What Lord does Yusuf alayhi salam mean? Remember me in the presence of your Lord. What Lord? The master, the king that he's going to go serve as a wine server. Ahsantu. So what is it that Yusuf alayhi salam meant, that that the one who's going to survive or going to make it, going to go there and maybe mention what happened, that he had a dream and there is a kind man there in prison and he helped them through the dream. He thought that can be a way for him to go out of prison. But in that thought, now you see something very critical. Please, if you are a bit distracted, now it's time to focus. Something very critical took place. The translation is not accurate related to it. So just focus a little bit, please. فَأَنْسَاهُ الشَّيْطَانُ ذِكْرَ رَبِّهِ. You know what this means? أَنْسَاهُ الشَّيْطَانُ. Shaitan caused him to forget. ذِكْرَ, the mention. رَبِّهِ, of his Lord. Of his Lord. What does this part mean? فَأَنْسَاهُ الشَّيْطَانُ ذِكْرَ رَبِّهِ. What my expectation, and I'm telling you my expectation right now, because according to the translation, they always translate it in a certain way that is not correct. You're going to tell me certain feedback, but I hope that one of you get it, inshallah. So word by word. So الشيطان, because shaitan is the subject of this verb. Okay, shaitan caused him who? He trusted that the person. MashaAllah, ahsantum. Okay, so now I'm happy that you proved me wrong. Okay. Oh, mashallah. May Allah give you the right knowledge, my sisters. Mashallah. I'm happy to hear that. So shaitan caused Yousof to forget the mention of his own Lord, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he didn't think that Allah will find or will help him to go out. He thought to take the man's, the survivor one, way out. So he said, mention me. Like you saw how you liked me here and how called you and all that and how I interpreted the dream for you, mention me. So الشيطان caused him to forget his Lord. What is the consequence of that? Look, فَلَبِثَ فِي السِّجْنِ بِضْعَ سِنِينَ. So he remained, he stayed in the sijn for a number of years. بِضْعَ in Arabic is a word to express number from 3 to 7. Can you believe? From 3 to 7, not days, not weeks, years. So sometimes we, without realizing, do the same. Yusuf alayhi salam learned a lot from this lesson, and you will see it coming later, his how he learned from that. And even Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has something to say about what he did later after he learned this lesson. So sometimes we think, okay, this man can help me. Can you please help me how to go? And then you talk to the man and the man turned the face and doesn't answer you. And says, subhanAllah, what's with people? I'm just asking for a help. I urge you and myself to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first. You say, oh Allah, make it easier for me to find the way. And then Bismillah, and then find the man. But after you make dua first. Is it going to come to you naturally every time like that? It is not, but you have to make some training for yourself to be able to do that every time. Ahsanti. So I received a question saying, what is how would we know that this translation that we said now is right? Or what is the indication? The question is not saying if it's right or not, like how do we feel about it? I completely understand. Let's look how they translated it. They translated as that the man that went out of the prison forgot to mention Yousof to his Lord. Can you see how many words were there added? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say he forgot to mention to his Lord, li rabbihi. You know, if there was a lam here, if there is a li here, then you will understand, yes, it's the man mentioning it to his king. but it didn't say that. There is no li. They're saying that in the translation. They're saying, forgot to mention Yousof to his master. Where is the to? In the flow, there is no to. It's ذكر ربه. It's, if you know Arabic grammar, مضاف and مضاف إليه. The mention of his Lord. Okay, so I hope it's clear. In the tafsirs in Arabic, you will find a lot of tafsir in Arabic go for that opinion too. But there are a lot more that mention this opinion that I just told you, because their proof is there is no to his Lord, for his Lord. It's just mention of his Lord. مضاف مضاف إليه. Mention his Lord. It is not mentioned to his Lord. So, in other words, Shaitan caused Yusuf alayhi salam to forget to trust or to call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first before asking the help from the man. Look at more translations. Let's see here. To mention to his master. You see another one. There is one here as well. Forgot to mention him. Oh, one said mention him too as well. They add the two. And here, Shaitan made him forgot to do this. So this one was try to get all the way out of it. So he didn't mention to his Lord or not. He just said forgot to do this. So he didn't even translate mention or his Lord. Read more translations and inshallah you'll find one. But is it clear to you or not? Okay. Okay, alhamdulillah. So, and you'll see in verse 42, we'll come back to it, and you'll see the difference in how Yusuf alayhi salam changed later, and what Muhammad said about that change later. So let's carry on. وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ. So, وَقَالَ, and said, الْمَلِكُ, the king. So now the king said something. So the king had his ministers, his advisors around, and now he's saying something. Inni, indeed I. Ara, I see. سبع بقرات سمان. So we know سبعة. What is سبعة? We know seven. بقرات. Do we know بقرات? أحسنتم. Cows. سمان. سمان is many of سمين. No, it's not a goat. It's a cow. سمين. Yeah, filled with fat. سمن in Arabic is fat. So siman, fat or filled with meat and fat and all that. يأكلهن. يأكلهن is not they eating. No, they are eaten by. They are eaten by سبع, which is another what? 7. عجاف. عجاف is the opposite of simanon. So can be slim, can be thin, can be looking weak, looking bony. These are dijafun. So the king saw, and you can see again the verb ara. Ara is a present verb. But he kept on seeing, again, this dream, just like what happened with the other two men that went inside the prison of Yusuf alayhi salam. He kept seeing this dream on a regular basis. It's not only one time and that's it. He kept seeing it. Ara, ara. Compare that to the dream of Yusuf alayhi salam in the beginning of the surah. He said, Ra'aytu. oh my father, I saw. So it happened once. But these dreams, this is the third one now, actually keep on coming. Why? Because the verb is present. أرى. So he saw 7 fat cows are eaten by 7 slim or bony ones. وَسَبْعَ سُنْبُلَاتٍ خُضُرٍ. السنبula, if you see like the ears of the wheat, sunbula is like this. When you see it like that, all the seeds of the wheat or the wheat are like this. Are you familiar with this? This is called sunbula in Arabic. So he saw 7 of those green, and then he saw another 7 of those yabisat, dry. So number 7 was dominant in the dream, 7 in everything. 7 fat cows, 7 thin cows, 7 green sunbula, and 7 dry ones. And then he called, Ya ayyuha al-mala'u. When you see the word al-mala'u in the Quran, it has always one meaning. What does al-mala'u mean? Al-mala'u. وقال الملأ يا أيها الملأ. Exactly, the people that have authority, wealthy, have authority, so maybe they are ministers, they are advisors. So the chiefs among the people are called always al-mala'u in the Quran. Yes, so chiefs can mean ministers, can mean wealthy people, businessmen, all these are called mala'u. Ya ayyuhal mala'u. So now this is the king calling those that are close to him and they have an authority and have wealth. Aftuniha. You see, we saw aftuni today. It's okay, my sister, don't worry. Aftuni. At the beginning of the class, I mentioned something related to aftuni. What does it relate to? What does it sound like? Aftuni. No. Ifta, fatwa. Fatwa, the word like that Yusuf alayhi salam said to the boys when he said, قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ, to the 2 men. قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ الَّذِي فِيهِ تَسْتَفْتِيَانِ, asking me for fatwa. Now the king is asking for fatwa, so he's saying, Aftuni, give me fatwa. Fatwa means you have a question that you have no answer. This is what fatwa is. If you say, I have a fatwa, what does that mean? You have a question and you have no answer for it. And now you're looking for answer. That is fatwa. So the king is saying, Aftuni, find me an answer. Find me an explanation. Exactly. Fi ru'yaya. So what kind of dream is it? We had 2 types. He called it what? He called it ru'yaya. My what? Is it a hulum or is it a ru'ya? A vision. Exactly. He's saying, Aftuni fi ru'yaya. Give me an answer to this vision of mine. In kuntum, if you were, للرؤيا, for the visions, تعبرون. And this is another word that became so, from the Quran, became so known to understanding the dreams. We call it what? تعبير الرؤيا, because of this word. What does تعبرون mean? تعبرون doesn't mean to explain, but تعبرون like to find meanings in things that may not look so meaningful right away. So like when you see 7 cows, what does the number 7 mean? Simanin, what does simanin mean? Is as if there are a lot of packed meaning that is not instantly recognizable from you, or that you can see it right away. Yes, my sister, it's not interpretation. What does it mean to interpret? What does it mean to interpret? In English, in English. To explain, to provide explanation. No, تعبرون doesn't mean to explain. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. So what I'm trying to do is not explanation. What I'm trying to do is for you to clear for you that تعبرون doesn't mean to explain or to interpret. تعبرون means to find a meaning to something that may not look meaningful on the first instance. It needs for you to slow down. It for you to think about it. It needs for you to have culture background about it. For example, one of the scholars that were very, very famous in understanding the ru'ya was Muhammad ibn Sirin, rahimahullah. And Muhammad ibn Sirin, two men would come to him with the same dream, and he will interpret it differently. Why? Because it's not only what he saw, it's what he saw and his circumstances, if he's married or not, if his parents are alive or not. He needs a story, he needs a background in order to be able to understand what his dream, that person's dream mean. So تعبرون doesn't mean to interpret. تعبرون means to find meaning for those, what I saw, like for the stories or for the hints or for the events in the dream that may not look recognizable or understandable right away. So it needs a process of thinking, reflecting, understanding the history. Am I making sense? Of course, all the tafsir, not all, astaghfirullah, not to judge without looking. So some said interpret. Someone said speculate the vision. What is the difference between interpret and speculate? In English, as an English word here, meaning, okay, tell me the meaning of my, this is the closest one to what I'm trying to tell you. If you could not interpret, if you could tell me the meaning of those things that I just said. So تعبرون, a process to which we can not explain the dream. We cannot explain the dream. This is what I'm trying to tell you. As you see, his dream, my sister, his dream is not a story, right? His dream consists of events or very short observation of his. He sees 7 cows. He sees other slim ones. He sees the sanabil. It is not a story to explain. It's words that as if they are a puzzle, you see? You don't explain the puzzle, you solve the puzzle, you see? To be, you don't know for sure. That speculates, yes. Investigate meaning, ahsanti, to look for, investigate, look for, solve. It is not explained because it is not usually a story. When you see a dream, you see something happen. But then after a while, you see, I don't know what happened. And then I found myself in that other place because you cannot tell it as a story. It's events, series of events. Sometimes you remember all, sometimes you see every little detail, and sometimes you forget all the details and you just remember the main events, like he remembered the 7 cows. So ta'burun doesn't mean to interpret, doesn't mean to explain. Ta'burun means to find meanings for what I saw, to to solve this puzzle for me. To tell, okay, those 7 would mean this because you have to do that, for example. Or you are not doing this, for example. So you need to do such and such in order to find that result. So it's more solving a puzzle, solving a story, not finding an explanation or interpretation for it. So the idea of investigating the meaning, solving those words as if they are puzzle for you, and you want to understand what does this mean. So you're not explaining it, you're finding the solution for it. That is the abara. Finding the solution, finding how do I do next? What is going to come, you see? I hope I'm making sense. So tell me the meaning of my dream is the closest thing we could tell, but try not to right away suggest its interpretation or explanation. So, because look what happened, all those ministers and advisors, what did they say? They said, أضغاث أحلام. You see what did they call, what he saw, he called it رؤيا. They called it what? Look. أحلام. The first type we spoke about, right? So it's just they're trying to tell him your mind is playing tricks on you. It is not true. This is not a vision. So they themselves differentiated between what a vision is and what a hulum is, which is not a vision. So they're saying this is not a vision. This is adghathu ahlam. This is a collection of no meaning puzzle or story. So تعبرون, to find meaning to something, to series of events. أحسنتي. أحسن, mashallah, my sister. Yes. Can you see the explanation of my sister Dawood here put? Please have a look at this. This is what تعبرون is, and it became attached to always the dreams. تعبير الرؤيا, تعبرون for the رؤيا, because you're not only giving interpretation or an explanation, you're trying to solve something. You're trying to find the indication why the door was open in the dream, why the light was on. Do you see? So this is more the investigation, history, what the person's like. Do they pray every night? Maybe they miss prayers. Maybe this is a warning for them. Maybe this is a good news for them. So Jazakallah khair, my sister, for sharing that. So we're almost done. I'll just finish this bit. So قالوا, they said, they who, the most intelligent, wealthy people that he spoke to, the advisors and the ministers and the chiefs, they said, this is not vision of yours. This is just a collection of ahlam. This is how your mind played on you, like some tricks or some stories that have no meaning, have no sense. So adghathu is you can replace adghathu with the word collection, but not even a good collection, like mixture, mix and match of something. Ahlam, dreams, or what the mind shows you. It is not actually a vision. And then they continued, here they use the word that you are trying to use. They use the word ta'wil, interpretation. You see, ta'wil now is the interpretation part. Ta'burun is not interpreting. Ta'burun is giving me the sense, investigate it. Ta'wil is interpret. And this is what they said. We are not at all or have any slightest knowledge to interpret any of those dreams that the mind play on you or you see as a result of your sleeping. So, inshallah, we stop there. If you have questions about what the verses we done today, we started at verse 41 and this is verse 44. Inshallah, we continue next time. But if you have questions, continue to discuss in the group. Please share if you have a reflection like this, because others can benefit from it. And you'll benefit too, because you're helping other people. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-jannata wa ma qarraba ilayha min qawlin wa amal wa na'udhu bika min an-nar wa ma qarraba ilayha min qawlin wa amal. Have a good day, inshallah, and have a good week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام.